I'm Leslie Russell, and you're watching our Simsbury, which is a new show that was created for you, the viewers. And it's a show about Simsbury to help you become familiar with the different towns and commissions, the different boards and commissions, and who's running them, and what makes Simsbury such a special place to live in. And today we're really fortunate because we have two wonderful gentlemen with us, whom I know I have a lot of respect and appreciation for. And I would like to welcome Simsbury's Chief of Police, Peter Ingverson, and the Chairman of the Police Commission, Carl Eisenmann.
Good morning.
And welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's just great having you here.
Thank you. It's our privilege.
And before we get into exactly what it is that you do, I'd like to put a person with a position, and so everyone gets to know you a little bit. And I'll start with you, Peter. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in the Farmington Valley, in the Unionville section of Farmington. Attended the school system in Farmington. I still live in Farmington. Went to college in West Hartford and had my career at the Farmington Police Department. I started off when I was 18 years old and retired from there roughly in 1998 as a captain, and then moved on to another department. But my life has been spent in Farmington.
And what about your family? Have you had any family members in the police department?
My father was the chief of police of Farmington, and my mother was one of the first policewomen in Farmington as well. So I come from a police background. I think that's how I really got started of my interest in it. My brother and my sister were not interested in it, but it seems like I was. So.
When you were a child, did they bring you into the office, or?
Oh yes. Well, when I was about 6 years old, 5 years old, we were allowed periodically to go visit my father in the police station. So I got to go in there, and at that time the department was only about 5 or 6 officers, and got to go there, sit on their laps, joke around. They used to stop at our house, bring the Sunday newspaper, and sit at the kitchen table and have coffee. So. It was like that, the public relation, the openness, and the communication, which got me interested in police work.
That's wonderful. And do you have like a favorite police show that you like to watch now, or when you leave work, is that kind of it? And you like to?
I really do not watch police shows per se. I used to watch Andy Griffith, but I really don't watch police shows.
And what about children? Do you have any children?
I have 2 daughters. One is 24 and the other is 23. My oldest is a teacher in Burlington, and my youngest is just finishing her master's at the University of Connecticut at Storrs.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They both have their masters, or will have their masters from UConn.
Okay. And what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I do a little gardening. I have a very small little farm, a few animals here and there. I go antiquing. I like to restore furniture.
That's great.
And that's kind of how we basically supplied my daughter's apartments. We went to the different tag sales and rummage sales or whatever, and bought a piece of furniture, and I redid it, and that's how they filled their house up.
That's wonderful.
It's kind of a hobby.
That's great. Great hobby to have. I know I've got some pieces of furniture that need restoring.
I'm not that close of a pro yet. My daughters don't complain, so I'm okay.
Okay. And what about you, Carl? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Bridgeport, and I grew up in Stratford. Attended the Stratford Public Schools. Then I went to Fairfield Prep, and for college, Georgetown, Washington, D.C., and Georgetown Law School.
That's wonderful. And can you tell us about your profession and the different types of law that you've practiced?
Yes, I practiced law briefly in New Canaan, Connecticut, and then was called to active duty in the Air Force, and I spent 5 years on active duty, served in Europe and North Africa, and some stateside assignments. And then I was released from active duty in 1957 and moved here to Simsbury, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. And what about children? Do you have children in the area?
Yes, I have 2 sons. One's in the area, one is not. The younger one, Bill, is a lawyer in Wethersfield. He's 43, and our older son, Robert, is in someplace in California, right near Costa Mesa, California.
All right.
And he's in the communications field.
Oh, that's great.
And 3 grandchildren.
Oh, that's wonderful. And how old are they?
Oldest one is a granddaughter, age 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then her little sister is age 8. And Bob's, our grandson, is 5. And he, of course, is out with his mother and
So you're
father
busy.
in California.
You're busy. And I know you've got an interesting hobby that I wanted to ask you about. And you're interested in the construction in the Revolutionary, Colonial, Victorian, and whaling era. How does one get interested in something like that?
Well, we like to go to Nantucket during the off-season, not in the summer when it's too crowded, and we've gotten extremely interested in the architecture that's been so wonderfully well preserved there. And we own a condo there, and it's in an old whaling captain's house, and it's an extremely interesting field. It's just a hobby with me, but we enjoy it very much.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the background information, and now we can put a person with the position, because you both have such important roles in our community. And why don't I start with you, Carl, as far as the police commission, exactly how does it operate, and what's its role in Simsbury?
Well, the police commission is the governing body of the police department. It's equivalent to a corporate board of directors. It's a management commission, but not micromanagement. The chief is the chief executive officer, of course, of the police department. We're responsible for budget, we're responsible for personnel, responsible for conducting grievance proceedings, citizen complaints, and everything that normally a commission that oversees a department does.
Okay. And how do you interact with the chief? What are his responsibilities to you?
Well, the chief is the chief executive of the police department. He runs the police department. We meet once a month where we review the reports and the activities of the police department. And again, we're into the labor relations field, into any disciplinary matters, which are very, very few and far between. Handling citizen complaints, which are extremely rare. Thank goodness, it's a very well-run police department.
And
One of the best that I know of.
And how many people are serve on the commission?
There are 5. It's a politically balanced commission, not by reason of any provision in the charter, but by tradition. We have 2 members of each of the 2 major political parties and 1 unaffiliated. And it's always been so constituted.
Okay. And if something were to come up, you would handle it, and it's taken care of between your commission and the police department.
That's correct.
Right, it's contained right there.
Some grievances do go to the Board of Mediation and Arbitration. We like to handle them first. Most of them are resolved without even reaching that stage. But if they do have to be resolved by the Commission, we can handle it faster than the State Board of Mediation and Arbitration, although the grievance is, of course, free to go there. But because of their very heavy docket, their statewide responsibilities, our decision can come much faster than that from the Board of Mediation and Arbitration.
Okay. Chief, how many police officers are there in Simsbury Police Department?
There's 34, counting myself. So we are, for our size of a population, we are small but formidable police department. We're able to service the community very well. Have very talented officers in the department, but as I said, we have 34 members.
And are there different divisions within those 34 members?
It's basically divided into 2 divisions. There's the patrol division, which is headed by the lieutenant, which is Lieutenant John Mandela, and we have what we call the support services division, which is headed by Captain Pete Sevitz. Under the support services are the detectives, and we have community policing under support services, which is headed by Sergeant Catania. We have training. We have accreditation. We have communication, which are the dispatchers. We have records under the administrative or under support services, and we have animal control. I know it may look a little off balance, but patrol is the larger of the group.
Okay.
So basically, lieutenant is focused on the 24 hours, 7 days a week, the 3 shifts. So he has more of an active role in that area. So you have to balance the workload.
And do you have any detectives, detective category, or
Yes, I do.
plainclothes?
We have detective under that support unit is managed and supervised by Detective Sergeant Brian Kavanaugh. I have a youth detective, which is Jim Polomsky. I also have 2 detectives, one being Detective Tommy Sheehan, who is a general detective, and I have a 3rd detective right now, but he's signed on special duty outside of the police department at the moment, and that's Detective Brian Logan.
Okay, great. And we have this wonderful commission that oversees everything. And what was there before the police commission? Because that was established in 1993, is that correct?
Well, it was by resolution of the Board of Selectmen in 1992, and we first took office in 1993. The Police Commission took the place of the former Board of Police Commissioners, which were the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen sat, pursuant to state statute, as a Board of Police Commissioners. The Selectmen decided that police work is specialty, and it was just one more agenda item for the Board of Selectmen, and they decided, again, pursuant to state law, that a separate commission was to be established and be more effective in handling the various aspects of departmental management.
And how is a police commission different from a civilian review board?
There's quite a bit of difference. Civilian Review Board can handle only citizen complaints. It has no disciplinary powers, has no budgetary powers, cannot resolve labor relations, that is, grievances, cannot hold disciplinary hearings. Police Commission is the governing body of a police department. Civilian Review Board is simply just that.
Okay. Now, are there any qualifications for the members of the police commission to have that's a big responsibility that they have? Or is it just, the representation of the peers that come together and, kind of figure it out, or is there some type of background that they should have to serve on the commission?
There's no requirement for any particular background. The genesis, or the beginning of getting appointed to the police commission, we're an appointed commission, by the way, not elected. Under state law, it can be either. There are no qualifications, but in the case of each of the political parties, their nominating committee interviews various applicants for the membership on the commission, and depending on their background and experience, the nominating committee makes a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. They do not have to follow the Board of Selectmen, makes the appointments. They do not have to follow the recommendation of the political parties, but they do. Similarly with the unaffiliated member, of course, they have no political structure, but that's usually selected either directly by the Board of Selectmen, or the parties often will agree on a qualified candidate. But as for any specific personnel guidelines, no.
Okay. And what's your experience been with the commission? Is it, do you work pretty well together? And
Well, originally when I was in Farmington, started off, I did not have a police commission. So police commissions were new to me when I went to Suffield as the chief, and then came to Simsbury with a police commission. Neither of the commissions, or I should say, they're very supportive. They're there to ask questions. It was something I had to get used to because, like I said, I was not used to police commissions originally. But I've had no no problem with the commissions. As I said, they're very supportive. I know that the chairman, we do talk periodically, at least once a week, and iron out different situations. They do review the budgets when they're prepared and send them forward with their recommendations or changes. So, like I said, they're very supportive of the police department as a whole, as a general, and very supportive of myself.
Now, you've been in your position for 3 years. How has your department changed or grown, and what do you see in the future as far as how you would like to maybe, whether it be change things or implement new things in the Simsbury Police Department?
Well, when I first came to Simsbury, there was 33. And as I said, now there's 34. We ended up having a federal grant, so we have a school resource officer in the school. That position is a little different, or I should say drastically different than other school resource officers. Our school resource officer is a resource to the teachers, to the students, to the parents, to the administration, to the police department. That officer's primary job is not security, but is educational, a mentor.
Is he physically?
He's physically in the schools.
Okay.
Every morning he comes to work. He reports to his sergeant. He spends his time at the elementary schools, the middle school, the high school. It's divided up.
Okay.
He does teach some classes in the schools.
That's great.
He does spend time outside of the schools, going off to camp with them during the summertime. He did put on a youth academy this year. We had a tremendous amount of interest in our youth academy. He's in charge of the new Explorer post that is coming about, that's underway. We have something like 15, 20 applicants for the Police Explorer post. He's very, very active in with our youth. I think that when I arrived, we started a training unit or division under Sergeant Catania. We've increased our career development through that training. And not only do the officers have to go to school every 3 years to keep up their certification, but we also try to send them to classes of interest, both to the officer and to the department, for their development and to help out the community. We have 2 community officers. We have Mark Kritz and John Mimnaugh. We're very involved with the residents of Simsbury, either through the senior picnic or the Citizens Police Academy, or going out on traffic issues on some of the side streets. So we get a tremendous amount of calls on speeders that go through Simsbury going to work. We started accreditation. Come December 17th, we will receive our first Tier 1 accreditation from the state of Connecticut, which is the liability area, which caused us in the police department, with the tremendous support and help of the police commission, to redesign, redraft, rework our general ordering system.
What do you mean by general ordering?
Those are standard procedures that officers need to work by. They set regulations for behavior, for ethics, for how to handle something from a motor vehicle accident to a medical call. We revamped that. We went down from a very thick book to a more manageable general order book.
Do you think that's something that Simsbury needed, just as far as our population and just the flow of things and things that were coming up every day, just to kind of streamline it?
It is. You have to. What's interesting about our general orders is that they're specific, but yet they allow the initiative and the innovation of the officer. And any general orders that a police department writes and the police commission authorizes and goes with cannot cover every aspect that an officer is going to deal with.
Right.
So you try to write a general order that will encompass the majority of them, but still give the freedom to the officer to interpret them in a positive way, because each situation changes. So it brought us into a more up-to-date. We were a little behind in that area.
Okay.
We need to basically revamp your general orders once a year, the ones that do not work, you take out. Ones that do work, you put back in, or you keep going on.
Does the police commission and the police department work together on programs, whether it be for young or old, or just things that are needed in Simsbury? Is there interaction?
Yes, there is. Yeah. Even the interaction may occur once a month at the meeting, or like I said, through phone calls that I receive, or the chairperson, Carl, Mr. Eisenmann, stops down, and we do go through it. So there is involvement. All the programs that we put forward are reviewed by the police commission.
And what do you feel is needed in Simsbury for the people? And pretty much it's a safe community. So when you have a community like that, where is your focus? What is it that you want to develop within that community?
One of the focuses is to keep Simsbury as safe as it is.
Right.
Simsbury is unique in that where it is located keeps it as one of the safest communities. Our emphasis is public service, and I use that not in the general terms, but our officers are here to serve people of Simsbury in car lockouts, to home lockouts, to motor vehicle investigations of accidents, to car seat installation. We have 3 officers who are certified in the installation of car seats that you can call the community service office and make up an appointment, and they'll inspect your child's car seat and make sure it's put in correctly. So our involvement at this point is to be continually involved in the school system through the school resource officer and through the officers in general, and be involved in the public, keeping the public informed of what's going on in the community.
That's wonderful. And I know with what's going on right now with the Homeland Security bill that's in front of Congress, if that does get passed, how will that affect, Carl, how will that affect Simsbury Police Department?
Well, the security in Simsbury, as I understand it, is very, very good. And I think we will be in full compliance with all of the provisions. Isn't that correct, Chief?
That is correct. We do meet every 3 months, the Public Safety Committee, subcommittee. We were there last week, and we were talking about the inoculation of smallpox, and we have things put in place, and I think we're able to handle whatever's going to come up for the town of Simsbury. I believe that we're well capable of doing that. Absolutely.
And I heard that if someone in the community, a civilian, was interested in riding around in a patrol car, that one could do that possibly either day or night, just to kind of hang out in the patrol car as the officer makes the rounds. Now, is that true?
That is true.
Okay.
We limit the amount of people that we do take.
Okay.
We try to understand the reason why the individual wants to ride.
Okay.
Not for the mere fact of just riding in a police car, but
let's see how that would be important.
Right, what do they want to learn? What do they want to get from it as they ride along? But we do allow it. We try to stay away from the midnight shift. We try to do it sometime during the days and in the afternoons.
And how would one, if one was interested, get involved in something like that?
What you would do is you would call the community office, speak with Sergeant Catania or Officer Kritz or Officer Mimnaugh, and express your interest to ride.
Okay.
And we'd have you fill out a release form that releases the town of any responsibility, and we put you in the car, and you can ride 4 hours or you can ride 8 hours.
Wow, that's great. Now, I have small children. I know with the bike path and everything, it always seems just very safe and walking on it and everything else. How do you patrol that?
Well, we either patrol it by the bicycles, by our bike officers, which are also the community officers. We also have officers that are trained in riding the bike. I know that kind of is strange. You wonder, how can anybody be trained to ride a bike? But
right.
Officers are trained to ride bicycles. Where they patrol the bike path from one end to the other. They'll either do it by the bicycle or by foot patrol. We do have a motorized bike that we sometimes use. But our bike path overall is very safe. It's a very safe bike path. And it's very well used by the public.
Okay. Have there ever been any issues with the bike path that you've had to address?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
I'd like to underscore that. I'm an
Yeah.
avid bicycle rider. My wife and myself, we use the bike path constantly. And the presence of the police officers on the patrol on the bicycle is is a very good thing. It's very reassuring.
That's
But the
wonderful.
bike path is completely safe.
That's great.
Absolutely.
And it's wonderful that we have the way that it's set up with the police commission and the police department. What do communities do where they don't have a police commission? How do they regulate a police department?
Well, in some municipalities, the chief executive officer, the mayor, or in some cases of towns, the town manager, is the overseer. Some places, the board of aldermen. Some places, the board of selectmen. Some places, the first selectman. That, once again, is an advantage of the police commission because you have a body that is dedicated to the management of and cooperation with the local police department. Gives the citizens a venue to which to address both
Absolutely.
their praise and any complaints they may have or any issues they may have.
Absolutely. I know I have such a respect for police officers and the police department and everything that you do. And I know many times you want to reach out and you want to do something for the police department. Aside from being a law-abiding citizen, what could someone do in the community that wants to help you, whether it be donations or bring cookies or whatever? Specifically, what is it that someone
Well,
could do?
We do take cookies. We do the brownies and the Girl Scouts and the Cub Scouts. We always have cookies, or always some in residence. Sometimes bake a little cake. But if you're looking to make a donation, we have a special fund that is the Simsbury Community Policing Fund.
Okay.
Those funds are used to put on the senior picnic that we have,
Okay.
or put on our open house that we have once a year in May, that we bring in the different area departments that we work with. The Youth Academy, the Citizens Academy, those funds that are contributed to community policing are used and returned back to the community. And it is not included in the police department's overall budget that we ask for the taxpayers.
And how could one make a donation to that? Just by calling up and...
If you call me up or you send a check made out to Simsbury Community Policing and mail it to myself at 933 Hop Meadow Street in Simsbury, the chief's office, we'll see that it is deposited and you'll receive a receipt from me indicating that we received it.
Okay, that's wonderful. It's just great, and I'm so happy that we had a chance to talk, and I know that the viewers who are watching, I'm sure that you're very happy that we got to have this time together. And thank you very much for coming in. Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing?
Well, the only thing I'd like to say is that the Simsbury Police Department belongs to the residents of Simsbury. And at any time you can call my office at 658-3105 if you have a question, or my lieutenant or my captain directly. We are an open police department. We will try to answer your questions and help you out. So please don't hesitate to give us a call.
Okay.
And likewise to the police commission, but it's best to reach us through the police department.
Okay. Well, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much. Thank you for your dedication
you.
and everything else. And
Thank
thanks
you
for
very
coming
much.
here.
Thank you very much. It's
Okay.
certainly a pleasure. and
Certainly a pleasure.
privilege.
Thank you. Thank you for watching.